Hello, welcome everybody. This is a Verbaling class and my name is Amy, and today we're going to be practicing our reading and pronunciation with a kind of fascinating article about immortality, sort of. So immortality is obviously when you don't die, and this article is entitled The Girls Who Never Age. So we're going to be reading, practicing our reading, our pronunciation, and learning some vocabulary too. So it's a great class to come into if you want to practice your pronunciation. But before we get started, what I'd like to do is just let you know about a few important things that can help you. So the first one is my Facebook page. That's my Verbaling teacher one. You can go and check that out. The link is there in the chat box for you. It's a good place to go just to keep in touch. You can write messages to me, leave comments, and interact with other students about some of the things that have been going on in my classes, or just general English learning stuff. So it's a cool place to go. Do follow me as a Verbaling teacher on that page, and keep in touch with me that way if you would like to. The other page that I want to tell you about is my Verbaling teacher page. So this is the one that contains a little bit more kind of concrete information about me as a teacher. If you go to that page, what you will find is several important things. So the first thing is my calendar. That will tell you when I have tutoring slots available, when I'm free for tutoring. So take a look at that if you're interested in having private tutoring sessions. It can be a good way to practice something specific, or to really focus on you, instead of spreading time between all the students who come to a Verbaling class. And if there's something really specific you want to focus on, you've got an English goal, then that's a good way to do it. So take a look at that. You can also see which classes I've got coming up for the week ahead. And if you click on the blue follow button, then what you'll see is automatic notifications of all the stuff that's happening from me. So you don't have to keep checking all the different teacher profiles all the time. The other thing that you can do is to write me a message. So if you do have a question about something, then do feel free to use the messaging system and I will get back to you. So let me remind you, this class is going to be speaking and pronunciation practice, and our topic today is, well, the title of the article is The Girls Who Never Age. So let's see who we've got here that's going to be reading with us today. We'll say first of all hello to Leonardo.
Hello, teacher. Hello, everybody.
Hello, how are you, Leonardo?
I'm fine. And you?
I'm well, thank you. Have I met you before?
I don't understand. Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Is this your first class with me, or have you come
yes.
to...
Yes, perfect. My first class then for you.
All right, I thought so.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Leonardo. I can see your picture there. You look like you're wearing like a sash, a blue kind of sash.
Okay. This is my graduation, the master degree in communication.
Wow.
in Spain.
That's awesome. And where are you from, Leonardo? Which part? Are you from Spain?
No, I'm from Belo Horizonte City, Brazil, but at the moment I live in Marbella, in Spain.
All right. That's a beautiful place.
Yes, the beautiful place. The beach is wonderful. The people, well, all the places is very beautiful.
All right, well, congratulations on your master's degree, and nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
All right, welcome. Who else do we have this morning, or this evening for you guys? We have Saiban, hello.
Hello, teacher, how are you?
Good, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, teacher. Good.
Has your studying been going okay? You sound tired, Saiban. Are you tired?
Yeah, absolutely, because I really depressed because I find British listening it's really hard for me. Actually, I used to listen to the American listening, and
Mm.
right now, when I listen to the IELTS listening, it's a little bit tricky for me because I should be familiar on the listening because for me it's been a while I haven't listened to the IELTS listening. I mean the
Mm.
British listening. I just
Mhm.
listen to the American guys. But right now, what should I do? I don't have any choice. So
Yeah.
I have to listen to the British accent. It's really difficult for me.
I'm sorry, Saiban. I know that accents are kind of one of the most annoying things about learning a language. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
it
it
is
can be
difficult,
tough.
teacher. It
I
is really
understand.
difficult. Yeah,
Yeah, Saiban, I think the only thing that you can really do is just keep listening. And eventually
yeah,
what happens is you get used to the slightly different sounds, and then suddenly you go, ah, I can understand.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, teacher. Actually, I think BBC it's good way to listen to be familiar with the British accent.
Absolutely. That's good. It's true. All
Okay,
right. Well,
yeah.
good luck, Saiban. I'm sorry that you're not feeling too good today.
Thank you, teacher.
All right. Welcome to the class. You can listen to me for a little while today, and that might help you a small bit.
Oh, absolutely, teacher. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
All right. Who else do we have here? We have Raphael. How are you doing today?
Hello, Amy. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Great. Thank you. Very good to see you. We've got some good reading today, guys. So you can start warming up your mouths if you like, with your microphones off. Ah, ah, ah. We've got a really interesting article, but it's going to be a little bit challenging, I think, as well. So, David, hello. Good morning. How are you?
Hello, teacher. I'm fine, thanks. And you?
Good. I'm well, thank you. And how's your day been?
Good.
Excellent.
Very good.
Well, that's great to hear. Okay. And who else do we have? We have our other David. So, let's say hi to the second David. Good morning, second David. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Ah, okay. I can hear you okay. All right. So let me just ask you, because I sometimes get a little bit confused between the two Davids, because we've got two of you here this morning. David, who I just spoke to with the picture of the beautiful water, which country are you from? I've forgotten.
Colombia.
Colombia. And the other David, where are you from? Don't tell me Colombia.
Brazil.
Excellent! All right, so I'm going to call you David from Brazil and David from Colombia today, okay?
Okay.
Just so that we don't get confused. Because David 1 and David 2 is a little bit tricky and confusing. All right, so welcome both Davids and welcome the rest of you. We're going to get started because this is a weird but cool article. I'm not going to introduce it any further. I'm just going to give you the link. Go ahead and load it if you would like to, and otherwise you can share my screen. I'll briefly just talk about how this is going to work. So for new students, if you haven't come to one of my reading classes before, we take it in turns to read, and take your time. There's no rush. Just do your best with pronunciation. Have a go at everything if you can. If you get really stuck, I will help you. And then at the end of your section, we'll talk about your pronunciation, and I'll give you a bit of feedback, and then we'll discuss the vocabulary if there's any words that the rest of the students or you don't understand before we move on, so that we're all following, okay? So a good thing to do is to note down any words that pop up as they come along, and then when I ask, you guys can be ready with any words that you get stuck on. So we'll just briefly say hi to Eduardo before we start. Hey, Eduardo. How are you?
I'm great, thank you, Amy.
Excellent. It's always nighttime with you and your picture of the moon. All right, welcome, Eduardo. We're just about to start reading, so can you see, everybody, what we've got on the screen here? The title is Aging, The Girls Who Never Grow Older. So we're going to find out what this is all about. There's a strange picture there. And we're going to scroll down, and I'm going to get, who shall I get to read first? I'll get Saiban to start us off, please, from a handful.
Okay, teacher. A handful of girls seem to defy one of the biggest cer- certainties certainties in life. Agent Virginia Hugo's report on the families wrestling with a condition they cannot explain, and the scientists who believe that these children would hold the key to immortality.
Thank you. All right, Saiban. So, guys, what we're going to do is just read short passages today, because this is quite a challenging article. I don't want to take too much in at once. So, well done, Saiban. This word here is certainties.
Okay,
Certainties.
certainties. Okay, teacher.
Yep,
Certainties.
so it comes from the word certain, and then you just add on T's at the end.
Certainties. Okay, teacher.
Excellent. Okay, this one here is a name. This is quite common. Normally I don't worry about names too much, but this is quite a common surname, so it's pronounced Hughes.
Use.
Yes. And then this one here is wrestling.
Wrestling, teacher.
Correct. Well done. Thank you, Saiban. Any questions about any vocab, guys? No? Don't be shy. Sometimes it's just a simple word that you can't remember, and feel free to ask me if that does happen to you. Okay, so let's continue and find out what happens next. And we have Raphael from Richard Walker.
Richard Walker has been trying to conquer aging since he was a 26-year-old free-loving hippie. It was the 1960s, a year marked by youth, Vietnam War protests, psychedelic drugs, sexual revolutions. The young Walker relished the culture of exultation, the joy of vivre, and yet was also acutely aware of its passing. He was haunted by the knowledge that aging would eventually steal away his vitality, that with each passing day his body was slightly less robust, slightly more decayed. One evening he went for a drive in his convertible and vowed that by his 40th birthday he would find a cure for aging.
Great. Thank you, Raphael. Well done. You always read with nice expression. Just two little words. So this one here is vitality.
Vitality.
Yep. And this one is robust.
Robust.
Great. All right. Does anyone have any questions about any words? Does anyone know what robust means?
Tough.
What joy de vivre means?
This is actually French, you can probably tell, but we use it in English as a sort of phrase because we do that with some French phrases for some reason. So joie de vivre is basically the joy of living, so it's a literal translation, I believe.
Okay.
The joy of living. So although it's French, we do use it as an English phrase, so it's probably good to remember that. Another one that we use is this, which you probably know too, but excuse me, I haven't got the accents on there, but raison d'être is reason to be. There's another French one that we use quite often. Okay, any other questions? No? Alright, well done guys, we're just getting into it, so let's continue. Eduardo from Walker.
Walker became a scientist to understand why he was mortal. Certainly, it wasn't due to original sin and punishment by God, as I taught by nuns in catechism, he says. No, it was the result of a biological process, and therefore is controlled by a mechanism that we can understand.
Thank you, Eduardo. You connect your phrases and words together really beautifully. Well done. So it flows really nicely when you read. Any questions about that part, guys? No? Anyone know what this catechism thing is?
Yeah.
Could you explain it for us?
Well, it's about the religion.
Mm-hmm.
Is Christian religion.
Yes.
I don't know how to explain. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So basically, it's sort of an explanation of stuff about the Christian religion. That's absolutely right. Okay, David, your turn. David from Brazil. This one here, please.
Scientists have published several hundred theories of aging and have tied it to a wide variety of biological processes, but no one yet understands how to integrate all of this disparate information.
All right, well done. So let's go through a couple of words. This one is published. Published.
Published.
Perfect. This one is not tired, but tied. Tied.
Tied.
Yeah, so the difference between those two I've just typed in the chat box. Tied and tired. This one's tied.
Okay.
This is disparate. Disparate.
Disparate. Disparate.
Okay, what does disparate mean?
Suddenly information.
Pardon?
Suddens.
I'm not quite sure what word you're trying to say there, David. Can you type it for me?
Let me see. Suddenly.
Sudden? No?
Suddenly information. No?
I'm not sure. Can you type it? I can't figure out what word you're going for. Sudden. Yeah, sudden. So sudden information. No, not exactly. Not exactly, David. It means something slightly different. So no one understands how to integrate, which means to connect up, I suppose. Disparate information. That means like information from different sources, lots of different bits. So
Okay.
from different areas, connect it all up together. All right. So one more. David
I'm
from
sorry. Can I say dispersed information?
Dispersed? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right, David from Colombia, from this paragraph, Walker.
Yeah. Walker now 24 believes that the key to ending aging may lie in a rare disease that doesn't even have a real name, Syndrome X. He has identified 4 girls with this condition, marked by what seems to be a permanent state of infancy, a dramatic developmental arrest. He suspects that the disease is caused by a glitch somewhere in the girl's DNA. His quest for immortality depends on finding it.
Great, well done, David. This word here is the only one. This is caused.
Cool.
Yes. Good. All right, who would like to give me a quick summary of what we've so far read? What's this article going to be about? Who is the main guy and what's he trying to do?
The main guy is Richard Walker.
Yep.
And he's trying to discover the origin, the cause of the girls don't be old,
Yeah, don't get old. Yep, correct.
don't get old.
Absolutely. That's completely true. So it's given us an introduction to him as a man and told us what his beliefs have been, and now we'll read on and see what happens with these girls. So, Raphael, it's the end.
It's the end of another busy week, and Mary Margaret Williams is shuttling her brood home from school. She drives an enormous SUV, but her 6 children and their coats and bags and snacks manage to fill every inch. The 3 big kids are bouncing in the very back. Sophia, 10, with a mouth of new braces, is complaining about a boy-crazy friend. She sits next to Anthony, 7, and Lena, 5, who are glued to something on their mother's iPhone. The 3 little kids squirm in 3 car seats across the middle row. Maya, 2, is mining a cherry slushie, and Luke, 1, is pawing in a bag of fresh crickets bought for the family gecko.
Thank you, Raphael. Okay, a few little words in here that are a bit strange. This is brood.
Brood.
Yeah. This is squirm.
Squirm.
And this is gecko.
Gecko.
Yeah. Okay, do we need to ask about those words, or can anyone explain them? What is a brood? Can anyone figure it out if you don't know? No one?
Maybe
her siblings.
Yeah. It's kind of a way of describing the children in the family, or the chicks, or normally we use it for birds. So like a brood of chicks is the chicks that are all born at the same time, sort of thing. So that's where it comes from. What about squirm? What does that mean? Can anyone give me a synonym? What is squirming?
I don't know, but there is a lot of terms here that is trying to be similar with animals, like pawing, brood.
Good. Yes, that's absolutely right, Eduardo. Yes, no? That's totally true. And squirm is another one of them. I was just going to mention that after I'd gone through pawing as well. But yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. So squirming is like wriggling, right? It's something that like a worm does, perhaps. Or if you catch a mouse and it wriggles around in your hands, you could say it was squirming. Pawing is obviously something that like a cat or a dog does that has paws, the feet. So well done, Eduardo. It's quite a nice little paragraph there. We've got lots of crazy animal children in the car. All right. Thanks, Raphael. Eduardo, could you continue, please, with finally?
Okay. Finally, there's Gabrielle, who's the smallest child and the second oldest, and at 9 years old. She has long, skinny legs and a long, skinny ponytail, both of which spill out over the edges of her car seat, while her siblings giggle and squeal. Gaby's dusty blue eyes roll up towards the ceiling. By the calendar, she's almost an adolescent, but she has the buttery skin, tightly clenched fingers, and hazy awareness of a newborn.
Great, thank you, Eduardo. Beautiful reading. Any questions about vocab, guys?
I understand buttery skin, but because I know what it is butter, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
All right, is exactly what you think it is, Eduardo. Buttery skin is not like a normal thing to say. It's the author, who's quite a creative writer, making up their own metaphors, right? So buttery, literally, I guess it means smooth and yellowy.
Slippery.
Maybe slippery, yeah, exactly. Smooth, slippery, anything like butter, to give the idea that she's got that kind of skin that you first have when you're born, you know, everything's perfect about it. No wrinkles, no, I don't know, spots or whatever you get later on.
What about hazy awareness? Hazy, this adjective, I have no idea what it means.
Does anyone else know what hazy means? No? Basically, it just means unclear. So if you have like, generally you're talking about vision. So if you can't, maybe you're looking at a view, you're standing at the top of the mountain, but it's hazy. It means maybe there's some cloud or a bit of mist. You can't see clearly. So in this case, it means that she's not clearly aware. She's a bit not focused, shall we say. Slightly hidden, slightly clouded, something like that.
Okay.
All right, David from Brazil, back in 2004.
Back in 2004, when Mary Margaret and her husband John went to the hospital to deliver Gaby, they had no idea anything was wrong. They knew from an ultrasound that she would have clubbed feet, but so had their other daughter, Sophia, who was otherwise healthy. And because Mary Margaret was a week early, they knew Gaby would be small, but not abnormal so it was such a shock to us when she was born, Mary Margaret says.
Excellent, well done. Really great. Just one word here. This is ultrasound. Ultrasound.
Ultrasound.
Do we know what an ultrasound is?
Yes.
Can you explain it?
Well, it's a sound wave that they make it through your body and it reflects in your body and they create an image of your body.
Beautifully described. Perfect. Well done, David. Excellent. Any other questions about vocab? So just before I ask you some questions about this, any other words that are confusing?
Yes, what's the meaning of clubbed feet?
Clubbed feet is like a kind of, I don't know if you'd say illness, maybe disability. Basically, your feet aren't, they kind of point the wrong way. So if you, yeah.
Okay.
It's just something like instead of being straight, they're turned to the side a little bit, so it makes it more difficult to walk.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure what the science behind it is, but that's roughly it. Any others? All right, so what we're going to do is get David from Colombia to read the next one, and then we're going to talk about it for a second. This one here, David, please.
Gaby came out purple and limp. The doctors established her in the neonatal intensive care unit and battery. Within days, the Williamses knew their new baby had lost the gender. Her brain love was smooth, lacking folds and grooves that allow neurons to pack entirely. Her optic nerve, which runs between the eyes and the brain, was atrophied, which would probably leave her blind. She had two heart defects. Her tiny feet couldn't be pried open. She had a cleft palate and an abnormal swallowing reflex, which she had to be fed out a few nose. They started trying to separate us. She probably wouldn't come with us, and says the family price came by to baptize her.
Thank you, David. Okay, you had some tricky words in here, but you did great. Let's just go through a few of them. The first one here is stabilized.
Stabilize.
Good, yep, that's great. Then we have this one, which was swallowing.
Swallow.
Yep, and this last one here, priest.
Priest.
Okay, so in this kind of situation, guys, there's probably quite a few words that you think, oh, what does that mean? I have no idea. However, it doesn't matter because these details aren't particularly relevant. What is relevant is the general idea. So can someone please tell me, just from, we've already figured out that we've got this guy who's going to research aging, and we've now read another 4 paragraphs here. Could someone give me a little brief summary and little overview? Who is this girl and what have we learned about her and her family? Really roughly. No? How about David from Brazil? Could you do it for us, David?
Me.
Yes. Doesn't have to be detailed. Just tell me roughly, what have we learnt? Who are the characters and what are they doing and who are they? What's happened to them?
Let me see. I read just my
Your piece?
paragraph.
And you
Yeah.
were just concentrating on the
Sorry.
speaking, right? That's all right. Just tell me anything that you remember. We'll do it together. So anything that you know. Who are the characters in here? Who are these people?
I remember of Mary Margaret
Yep. Who is she?
and her daughters. She
Yep.
was mother.
Yep. How many children does she have?
2,
No.
1. Gaby. Okay.
More, David.
3.
No. Here we go. Look
4.
right up to the top here. She drives an enormous SUV, but her 6 children, and then
Yeah.
coats and bags, right? She
I
has
knew.
6 kids. Alright, well done. Who else can fill in some more information? We talk about Gabrielle. Who is she? Who is Gabrielle? What happened to her?
She was the smallest child.
Yep. She's the smallest in size, but is she the youngest?
No.
No, exactly. She's actually the second oldest, I believe. And what's wrong with her?
Well,
Yeah? Who else was talking? I didn't quite hear that.
She doesn't grow up.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, so the thing about her that's strange is that she's not getting older. Even though she's 9, she still looks like she's way younger than that. She's got buttery skin and she's got hazy awareness like a newborn. A newborn is a baby who's just been born, right? And when she was born, there were lots of things wrong with her. So her brain wasn't developed properly, she couldn't see properly, she had problems with her hands and feet. And they thought that she was going to die, right? They said that she's probably not going to be going home, so the priest came to baptize her, which suggests that they thought maybe she wouldn't survive, which is sad, but she obviously did. So, let's continue reading, and it must be Raphael's turn, day after day.
Day after day, Mary Margaret and John shuttled between Gabby in the hospital and 13-month-old Sophia at home. The doctors tested for a few known genetic syndromes, but they all came back negative. Nobody had a clue that was in store for her. what was in store for her. Her strong Catholic family put their faith in God. Mary Margaret just kept saying, "She's coming home, she's coming home," recalls her sister, Jenny Hansen. And after 40 days, she did.
Hold on, Raphael. Great. This word here we pronounce Catholic.
Catholic.
Yes. Okay. Continue. Eduardo from Gabby Cried a Lot.
Okay. Gabby cried a lot, loved to be held, and ate every 3 hours, just like any other newborn. But of course she wasn't. Her arms would stiffen and fly up to her ears, in a pose that the family nicknamed her Harley Davidson. At 4 months old, she started having seizures, most puzzling, puzzling, I don't know, and
Puzzling.
problematic. Okay,
Mhm.
puzzling and problematic. She still wasn't growing. John and Mary Margaret took her to a specialist after specialist, a cardiologist, a gastroenterologist, a geneticist, a neurologist, an ophthalmologist, and an orthopedist.
Well
You almost
done!
you almost get your hopes up a little. This is exciting. We are going to the gastro doctor, and maybe he'll have some answers. Mary Margaret says, but the experts always said the same thing. Nothing could be done.
Well done, Eduardo. I think you get a prize for the most difficult paragraph there. Well read. This one here is puzzling. Puzzling.
Puzzling. Okay.
Yep. So do we know what a puzzle is? I think we do.
Yeah. It's like a
Something.
game for kids, but you can use it as a verb also.
Yeah, exactly. So it's when something's confusing, basically. All right, let's continue. So David from Brazil, the first few years.
The first few years with Gab were stressful. When she was 1 and Sophia 2, the Williamses drove from their home in Billings, Montana to Mary Margaret's brother's home outside of St. Paul, Minnesota. For nearly all of those 850 miles, Gaby cried and screamed. This continued for a month until doctors realized she had a run-of-the-mill bladder infection. Around the same period, she acquired a severe respiratory infection that left her struggling to breathe. John and Mary Margaret tried to prepare Sophia for the worst and even planned which readings and songs to use at Gaby's funeral. But the teeny toddler toughed it out.
Well done, David. Great. So let's just have a look at a few things in here. Run of the mill. What does run of the mill mean?
I don't know.
Does anyone know?
I don't know what bladder means too.
Okay, so bladder is the part of your body which controls your urine. So when you go to the toilet, right? It's the water. It clears the water.
Mm.
And run of the
Inside
mill,
the ear.
yeah.
Mm.
Run of the mill is basically, it just means normal, right? Regular. Something that is really common.
What's
so
just meal?
Pardon? This is like just a kind of an idiom. I don't know where it comes from exactly. It must be, a mill is somewhere where you grind like corn or some kind of grain to create flour. And I guess what happens is that if something comes out of a mill, It's the same every time, right? It's flower after flower, 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 flower. So that's probably where it comes from. Something really common.
Okay.
What does to tough something out mean? Tough it out.
I don't know what
Anyone can
toddler
guess?
means. Teeny toddler.
Ah, the tiny toddler. A toddler is a name that we call a baby who just starts to know how to walk. And they toddle. So that they don't really walk properly. They kind of like walk in a funny way, right? They walk wobbly. And that's what we call them. If they're just learning to walk, they're a toddler.
It's a way of walk.
No, it comes from the way that they walk, but actually it's the name that we call a certain aged child. So it's like a
Okay.
teenager is like if you're in your teens, like 13, 14. A toddler is like age 2-ish, 2, 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So the tiny toddler is like a really small 2-year-old. And she toughed out her problems. Like she had so many problems, but she just got through them. She managed to somehow get through it. She toughed it out. All right, David from Colombia. This one, please.
While Gabby's hair and nails grew, her body wasn't getting bigger. She was developing in subtle ways. But at her own pace, Mary Margaret vividly remembers a day at work when she was pushing Gabby's stroller down a hallway with skylights in ceiling. She looked down at Gabby and was shocked to see her eyes reacting to the sunlight. I thought, well, you're seeing that light, Mary Margaret says. Gabby wasn't blind, after all.
Great, well done. Perfect, thank you, David. Okay, so the mystery is getting deeper and deeper. The parents have no idea what's happening. Obviously, at this point, they don't know what's wrong with her. All they know is that lots of things aren't working in her body properly. But no one can figure out what's actually wrong. So let's continue. Raphael, despite the hardships.
Despite the hardships, the couple decided they wanted more children. In 2007, Mary Margaret had Anthony, and the following year she had Elena. By this time, the Williamses had stopped trudging to specialists, accepting that Gabby was never going to be fixed. At some point, we just decided. John recalls, it's time to make our peace.
Great, thanks, Raphael. This word here is trudging.
Trudging, okay.
Yeah, what does trudging mean? This is a great word. Anyone know?
Looking for, talk to.
Sort of. Actually, to trudge means to go, to walk or travel in a reluctant way, okay? So if you imagine, I don't know, you're taking your son out, he's 8, say, and he doesn't want to go shopping, but you have to go shopping. So what he does is he walks in a really, like, angry, kind of slow, annoying way behind you, and you have to keep stopping to wait for him. He's trudging, okay? All right. So they've decided to give up and not worry, and just look after Gabby and not worry what's wrong with her. So now we're going back to the scientists. Let's continue. Eduardo, when Walker.
When Walker began his scientific career, he focused on the female reproductive system as a model of pure aging, a woman's ovaries, even in the absence of any disease, slowly but inevitably slide into the throes of menopause. His studies investigated how food, light, hormones, and brain chemicals influence fertility in rats, but academic science is slow. He hadn't cured aging by his 40th birthday, nor by his 50th or 60th. His life's work was tangential, at best, to answering the question of why we're mortal sorry, mortal, and he wasn't happy about it. He was running out of time.
Thank you, Eduardo. Okay, are there any questions about vocab here, guys? We've got lots of scientific words in here. So let me pick out a few for you that are probably more important. Menopause is that time of life when women stop having their monthly cycle, right?
Right.
And this one's probably a bit confusing. Can anyone figure out what tangential mean? It comes from the word tangent.
Yeah, it comes from mathematics.
Yep,
A circle and
exactly.
a line who
Yeah.
just join together in one point or two. Yeah.
Thank you, Eduardo. Exactly. So it means that I guess it didn't follow a path. It was sort of like some crossing over and some. It was all a bit confusing. He never quite followed a steady path. All right. Great, guys. You're doing really well. So David, now from Brazil, so he went back.
What? Oh, okay. So he went back to the drawing board, as he describes in his book, Why We Age. Walker began a series of thought experiments to reflect on what was known and not known about aging.
Thank you. And David from Colombia, this one.
Aging is usually defined as the slow accumulation of damage in our cells, organs, and tissues, ultimately causing the physical transformations that we all recognize in elderly people. Jaws shrinks and gums recede. The skin slacks, bones break, cartilage thins and joints swell, arteries stiffen and clog, hair grays, vision dims, memory fades. The notion that aging is a natural, inevitable part of life is so fixed in our culture that we rarely question it. But biologists have been questioning it for a long time.
All right, excellent. This makes aging sound terrible, doesn't it? Even if you don't understand every single one of these words, it's pretty depressing. We're just going to pause for 1 second, guys. I would like to ask you, what do you think about aging? Is this guy like, do you think that we will eventually find some kind of way to stop aging from happening through science? I'll ask Raphael first of all. What do you think?
I don't think so. Perhaps make it slower, but not stop it.
Immortality.
Yes, I don't believe it.
Why not?
Because it's how can I answer this? Because our cells, sooner or later, our cells they lose their vitality, and they simply die. So how can I answer? And it's something, in my opinion, it's out of control. We can create medicines, we can create treatments to prolong our life, to make our life, to prolong our days here, but not for stop, because the life has its curse, and we can't avoid it. We can't avoid the curse of life.
All right, interesting. What do you other guys think? David from Brazil, what do you think? Do you agree with Raphael that we'll never be immortal?
Well, what is the question?
Do you think that one day scientists will work out a way to keep us all alive forever? Or will that never happen? Will we eventually always die?
I don't know. It's very hard to believe in a thing like that. It's hard to believe in that in this new news.
Yes.
That there are girls that they don't age,
It's certainly
but
strange, isn't it? Yeah?
but maybe one day it could be true. It can be true. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's kind of a weird question because it's a bit strange. I think it makes you think about lots of other different topics as well that are apart from science or maybe related, but kind of makes you think about your beliefs in what happens when you die and the whole point of life, really. Eduardo, what do you think?
Well, I totally agree with Rafael. So, the expectancy of life, I suppose, is going to still growing in the future because we have a lot of scientist advances in medicine and with the genetic and all these things right now with this kind of mother cells. So yeah, I think in the future they are going they are they are going to find different cure for different disease. So the expectancy of life is going to grow, but not immortality, of course. We have an end, everyone. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you guys, I'll ask David from Colombia, would you actually want to live forever, David, if you could?
No, I think will be boring. Uh, I don't know. I think that it's possible that scientific people discover or make a research
Mm-hmm.
that change some part of the DNA
Mm-hmm.
that make that the humans can live, no, maybe 200 or 300 years. I think it's possible because I read an article that says that the humans were made for live for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe a change in the DNA and bingo.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, imagine if that did happen and we did live for like 200 or 300 years. How do you think that it would change our lives? What do you think would we think differently? Would we do different stuff? What about David from Brazil? What do you reckon?
The question is what it would change in our life if the people don't die anymore.
Yeah, or maybe if they die, but we live much, much longer than we live now, David. Like, say, now, if you live to 100, that's pretty long, right? But say we live to 200 or 300, how do you think we change our life, our society?
I think that the things don't change much more that they are today.
Yeah?
People,
Why not?
people live in a way that they don't think they will die.
Mm-hmm. So,
And
yeah.
the people continue working, making money,
Mm-hmm.
take care of their families. I think in the future people will live 200 years
Mm-hmm. But
because
life will be pretty much the same.
yeah, because medicine will
Advance.
advance. Yes,
All
but
right.
if this research and go on and people doesn't age, I
Mm-hmm.
think people will live for 500 years. I don't know.
Wow,
Maybe
500?
forever. Maybe forever. I don't know.
Let's see what Eduardo thinks. Eduardo, what do you think? Would anything change if people started living much longer?
Yes, a lot of things. Well, I think it depends how many years a woman can have children because we are growing too fast and future generations are going to have complications here in Earth. So, yeah, it depends. Yeah, but I think everyone is going to acquire more knowledge, and if your cells are still working after 100 years, so of course we are going to achieve more things. But yeah, maybe it's a complication if it comes suddenly. Everything needs an adjustment. Yeah.
Absolutely. It would be very strange if someone suddenly discovered something that extended our lifespan by, maybe another 100 years suddenly. That would be very strange, I think. And what about those people who are old now, in their 90s, with their body has already, decayed, I guess. Do you think they'd want to live another 100 years in that way? I don't know. Raphael, what do you think?
We are talking about physical conditions.
Yeah.
We are talking about prolong our body, prolong our life expectation.
Yep.
But I don't think they are worried about our mindset expectation, because our minds we were born with our, how can I say, time clock. And also our minds. So we were born, we grow up, we reach adolescence, and we get more mature. We have our children, and we start our family, and we start our jobs, and we construct a career. We reach our success, and we're getting older. We start thinking differently, and our way of thinking also changes. So try to imagine an old person with 100 years. What does this person expect from life? More. I don't think they will expect more anything else for life. No, they don't have. What are their aims? What are their objectives? So it's a point that also must be considered. Our minds, are willing to live after so many years, I think.
Yeah, for sure. That's a kind of weird but interesting discussion, guys. A lot of good points. So let's finish. We're going to have to finish now, I'm sorry. But if you want to continue reading that article and there's anything that you want to ask me, do go ahead and type me a message on Facebook, and we'll share info about the vocab or any sections, because it's quite interesting, but it is long. So congratulations. That was very good reading from all of you today. Great contributions as well. So if you want to come along and practice your writing, I'll see you in the next class. So otherwise, have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you, Amy. Bye-bye.
Thank you, teacher. Bye.
Bye.